The Sister of Ursula of 1978 is an incredibly sleazy giallo that is primarily recommendable for its perverted sleaze, beautiful settings, and beautiful female cast members. Directed by the rather unknown Enzo Milioni, the film is certainly not a particularly memorable, suspenseful, or convoluted example for suspense cinema's most intriguing genre. But overall, the genre typical combination of sleaze and elegance makes it interesting enough for my fellow Giallo enthusiast to track down. The beautiful Austrian sister Ursula and Dagmar Bain come to Amalfi in southern Italy in search of their mother, who left their late father a long time ago. Upon their arrival, a prostitute is murdered in a highly perverted and gruesome manner. Ursula, who has been traumatized by the death of her beloved father, seems hostile towards others and is sure that somebody is out to kill her as well. The film is incredibly sleazy, though not particularly brutal for Giallo standards. It starts out well, but gets a bit repetitive after a while. In its sleaziness is sometimes compared to Giallo of Venezia, another incredibly sleazy Giallo made after the genre's heyday. Though that film was arguably the most graphically sadistic Giallo of all. La Sorella di Ursula is far more elegant, however. The coastal small town Amalfi in Campania, Italy is incredibly beautiful and a wonderful location for any film, especially a giallo. The hotel in which most of the film takes place is full of incredibly cool set pieces. The genre typical score featuring a mysterious female singing voice is beautiful and support the film's elegance and eerie atmosphere. The murders are nasty but not particularly brutal, since the killing as such are not that graphic. There are tons of sleaze and gratuitous female nudity, which is very graphic even for softcore standard. This is very welcome since the female cast consists entirely of stunning beauties. The most ravishing woman in the film is Barbara Magnolfi, who will be recognized by any fan of Italian horror for her supporting role in Dario Argento's masterpiece Suspiria, most likely the most famous of all Italian horror films. She is also a fine actress and delivers the most convincing performance here. Stefania di Amario, who plays her eponymous sister, is also very beautiful, as are the other female cast members. The male cast include cult cinema regular Mark Porrell in a steady role. Overall, La Sorella di Ursula isn't a mercy, and there are numerous gialli that should be seen before this one. However, it provides sleazy and elegant entertainment. And while it isn't the most suspenseful specimen of the genre, my fellow Giallo fans should have a good time watching it. Just don't expect anything on a par with Sergio Martino or Dario Argento. After their father's death, the sisters Dagmar and Ursula retired to a hotel on the Amalfi coast to try to overcome the great moment of discouragement. Especially Ursula is greatly affected and appear agitated and depressed. The hotel is managed by the spouses Roberto and Vanessa. Unfortunately, the climate turns out to be anything but peaceful. In fact, seedy drug trafficking and prostitution take place in the hotel. Among other things, Roberto is very jealous of his wife, who cheats on him systematically, but he too, for his part, cheats on Vanessa with Stella, the younger sister of the nightclub adjacent to the hotel. After the arrival of the two sisters, several girls begin to be killed in the town, including Stella. The bond that unites all the victims is quite unique. All the girls killed had loved shortly before. In the end, it will be discovered that Ursula is the killer, suffering from a very serious personality disorder. The police intervene just in time before Ursula also kills Dagmar. Here it turns out that, as in the previous murders, the weapon used is an ancient wooden patties, which is nothing more than a sculpture of a large palace. Discovered, Ursula commits suicide by throwing herself from a window of the boarding house. Aspiring filmmakers, here is a tip. If you want to give your picture an automatic 2 stars right out of the gate, shoot it on Italy's Amalfi Coast, a district so incredibly gorgeous that it makes any film look good. Case in point, the sleazy Giallo, the sister of Ursula, an otherwise tawdry, far-fetched affair, whose stunning backdrop is its main selling point. In the film, the two Austrian sisters of the title, Randy and Faye, unpleasant Ursula, come to a luxurious hotel after the recent death of their father. But at an unfortunate time, it seems that a local whack job has taken to killing nubile ladies using an enormous phallus shape, I guess I'd better not say, on the girls, Northern Virginia's. Many suspects abound, including the hotel's handsome manager and the resident smack-addicted stud. The film features copious amount of male and female full frontal nudity, tepid, simulated love scenes, and even a surprising glimpse of pudendum. As far as violence is concerned, the dastardly deeds are blessedly done off-screen, with only the gory aftermath on display. The picture also gives us a lush, catchy theme song in Mimi Uva's eyes, stylish direction from Enzo Milioni, and very decent acting by the four leads. But the killer's motivation and demise ultimately seem forced and unsatisfying somehow. In all, a great looking mixed bag nicely presented on this Severin Films DVD. 30-minute interview with Milioni himself. After the untimely death of their father, Brunette's sister Dagmar and Ursula go in search of their estranged mother, with whom they intend to share their inheritance. Checking in at a luxurious hotel on the Amalfi coast proves to be a mistake when a mysterious killer starts to bump up the more promiscuous guest. When it comes to Jali, I prefer him stylish, mean-spirited and gory. But failing that, nice and sleazy does it every time. The Sister of Ursula doesn't feature all that much go and is lacking the visual wow of Argento Obawa. But it more than satisfies in terms of love, nudity and general seediness. Within minutes, Delicious de Amario has delivered the first of many full frontal scenes, with virtually every woman bearing all for the camera at some point. A hooker has love with a friend for the pleasure of the killer. Hotel owner Vanessa has lesbian love with her lover Jenny. Cabaret singer Stella shag hotel manager Roberto. A pair of teenagers strip for love, and Dagmar enjoy with a gold chain while her sister sleep in the bed next to her. While none of this is hard, it's still fairly graphic, with shots of both male and female genitals, some near the knuckle rubbing. The killer's weapon of choice also add to the sleaziness. A large, carved wooden toy is used to kill the women, resulting in a very messy downstairs department for those concerned. Makes a change from an open razor. Story-wise, this one isn't anything special, and the killer's identity and motive probably won't come as much of a surprise. But all those attractive women in the altogether and the generally trashy tone made it hard for me to not enjoy myself. Well, it's safe to say that the Curse of Ursula isn't the greatest giallo ever made. But there is plenty of love and sleaze, and the whole thing is at least enjoyable. The Curse of Ursula came rather late on in the giallo cycle. In fact, it had pretty much dried up by the time this film came along, and as such, it would seem that writer-director Enzo Milioni was extremely keen to put as much love and nudity into the film as possible to ensure that people would watch it. And while this sort of stuff isn't really what I watch giallo for, it doesn't go amiss in a film such as this, which was little in the way of a plot. As the title suggests, the film focuses on a woman called Ursula. Along with her sister Dagmar, she finds herself at a hotel where the sisters are looking for their mother, believing she has a right to some inheritance left by their father. However, a vicious psychopath who uses a toy to murder his victims has also taken up residence at the hotel and begin dispatching of everyone who has love. I had heard that this film was particularly sordid, And while I can certainly see why that is said, I have to say I was expecting more from it. Though, admittedly, I probably do watch a bit too much of this stuff. Romance fueled giallos got more common towards the end of the cycle, which is unfortunate as the style of the earlier films was lost. As well as the love, this film also features some pretty gruesome death scenes, which is nice, but it does seem like director Enzo Milioni is trying to force the film down the audience's throat a little bit, as everything is completely over the top. The plot takes a backseat to the love and go, and typically it is a rather dull affair. There isn't much to it after the foundation are laid down. And while the twist ending isn't too bad, I have to say I didn't really care about it. There is some style in the film, the way we only see the killer's eye, for example, shows some attempt to build atmosphere, but overall, if you are looking for a great giallo, you really shouldn't track this one down. Last gasp of the giallo genre by the end of the 70s. Ursula's Sister will be on top of the list of European trash and sleaze fans. But this one was tragically bad and boring. It's an utterly lackluster attempt to mix love and violence. From an uninteresting story to sisters going on vacation by the sea, are fighting over their father and mother relationship, while a maniac kills young girls with a huge toy right after they made love. Enzo Milioni's effort has a reminiscence of Jess Franco's early 70s work, but with no talent shown. Rarely use my forward option, but here found a pure gem. Never ending dialogue by the sea, ineffective editing killing most of the suspense, car chases at 50 miles per hour that last at least 4 minutes. Even with the beautiful sight of the Amalfi Coast, are really too much for me. Bad acting, bad dubbing, only Barbara Magnolfi seemed out of this world. Her eyes lost as if she didn't actually realize what she was doing. Even handsome Mark Porrell at his worst is in this huge pile of crap. Except the hotel location and the deep blue sea. It seems obvious that the budget was low, so were the expectation of the producers. But the TV-like cinematography doesn't help at all. The only different thing are the love scenes. They are all on the verge of an hard movie, which is strange for an Italian thriller of 1978. But beside the excitement for male straight viewers, it doesn't bring anything to this flick. It's not even titillating as the actresses and actors don't seem to believe in what they do. It's pure exploitation and totally useless and not even fun. On the top of all this nonsense, the score is simply atrocious. Horrible 70s Italian music, mix of bad funk and Morricone women vocalizing surrounded. The murder scenes are mixed with a tremendously funny violin that tones down all the thrill you might get. And there is the song sung by Johan Harlow with the worst lip sync in all movie history. Lovely stuff and simply trash. This would make a nice, if potentially wrist spraining triple bill with Play Motel and Giallo e Venezia, as it's another sleazy Giallo that spends too much time on the rumpy pumpy and not enough on the stabby stabby. On the Amalfi Coast, to sister check in to a nice coastal hotel run by the seemingly nice Roberto. Dagmar is the more outgoing of the two sisters, to say the least, as other sister Ursula is completely off her trolley. She hates the hotel and everyone in it on site, including Roberto, club singer Stella signing, and especially young handsome guy Filippo. That night, a mysterious stranger pays a hooker so he can spy on her getting it on with some guy. Once she gets rid of her customer, she is murdered by the stranger in a rather unique, and some would say symbolic fashion. But who is the killer this time? We'll have to spend a lot of time with our various hotel staff and that dark secret before we find out. You see, Ursula suffered from some trauma after her mother left her impotent father, who then killed himself, leaving Dagmar to look after the ungrateful Ursula. Hotel owner Roberto has an open marriage to his wife, who is getting it on with a young girl called Jenny, who also lives in the hotel. Filippo is a lover of Stella, signing, but she doesn't like jealous men, and he is also a drug addict. It's like that old soap opera crossroad with more full frontal. The killer doesn't like it when the ladies get it on, so they're busy going around killing them, and to be honest, the police didn't seem that bothered about it when I look back on it. What you have here is a giallo with the emphasis on the sleaze. So the film breaks down every 15 minutes or so for a love scene complete with romantic saxophone soundtrack. Rather close to the bone, some of it too, if you know what I am saying. When you watch these things, it's fun trying to figure out who the killer is, but it's not hard to guess here. The Amalfi location adds to the atmosphere, but the mystery of the film won't stimulate your brain, however. The bit where Dagmar uses a gold chain to set off the old fanny bomb might stimulate something else's mind.